Hi, I'm Daniel Burstein, Director of Editorial Content at MarketingSherpa. We are here at the DMA's annual event, and I'm joined by Tom Benton, the CEO of the DMA, and Lindsay Hutter, the SVP of Communications and PR for the DMA. So, Tom and Lindsay, we've been interviewing all sorts of marketers here and asking them about top takeaways so the marketers at home can learn something, but let's now talk specifically to the audience of and them. So, you come to an event this big, there's so much going on, but the great thing about coming is, we're not just emailing, we're not just connecting on social media, we're connecting in person. So when people get back to the office, after attending DMA, what advice would you give them to leverage that network that they've created here?
Well, I would say it's all about data, right? What you're learning and information and gathering information. I just heard a story. I was talking to a guy from H&R Block, and he said that he was riding down the elevator with a bunch of guys from TurboTax. So now here you have fierce competitors who obviously are not very friendly from a business point of view, but they start to talk about common issues. And it's that kind of connection and that opportunity to bring competitors together. They can identify problems that they're both facing. It's a sense of comfort that to know that, geez, we're not the only ones who are trying to tackle this problem. They are too. They know where to draw the lines in terms of proprietary information, but now you're bringing competitors together to compare notes and solve a sector problem that they're dealing with. It's for the common good. So at an association like this, that's what we are. It's kind of like crowdsourcing. We bring the collective voice of the marketplace together so that they can identify issues and solve problems.
I love that example, coming together to help best serve the customer, help solve problems. What have you seen, Lindsay?
Well, a lot of energy here. It's so exciting that a 98-year-old organization is acting like a startup, and Then is making its debut this year. What I would say to all the listeners in terms of taking home the learning is when you get back in the office, gather all of those colleagues that didn't have a chance to come with you, sit down, walk through all the ideas, and think about what should we start doing, what should we stop doing, and what do we need to do better as a result of the learning and the networking that they were able to achieve here at Then. So take Then, bring it back into the office, and give it another 362 days until 2016 Then.
That's great. And so speaking of that content, speaking of the startups, so there's a hot zone here where a few startups are pitching their ideas, but there's also many established brands that are sharing what they've learned. So in terms of the content, I know this event was very deliberately planned with different sessions so people can learn and take things back. What should people do with that actual content they learned, and how can they share it with their office and with their own in their own campaigns?
Well, look, I'm an old guy, I've got gray hair, right? I'm learning things every day. Here, it's fun to talk to colleagues, it's fun to talk to people from different sectors. In fact, yesterday I went right from talking to two guys here out in the hot zone who have a great new product. It's like a 3-person firm right now. They're talking about issues of scale. And then I go upstairs and I go to a keynote session with John Iwata, who's a top marketing person at IBM, and he's talking about the massive processing power of Watson and how oncologists are feeding all of this information into Watson, and it's helping oncologists all over the world make better diagnoses in real time. So it's that vast, eclectic mix of people coming together and learning from each other. And it's fun to see these major executives talking to these startups. In fact, that's something new this year that Lindsay had a lot to do with the hot zone. It's something I'm passionate about. I worked at AOL for a long time. It's fun to bring a new product to market, but it's also very stressful. It's a roller coaster ride, and it's fun to support those, the startups that we have here. But it's also a lot of fun to see marketers who are with well-established companies coming back and comparing notes with these people. They want to help out, they want to learn from them. And it's all part of the mix here at DMA. So it's bringing those people together, and as you said earlier, it's person-to-person contact. We do so much over the phone, and that's great. Skyping with people or whatever, and but still, there's a place for coming together and meeting and talking, just like you and I are right now.
Excellent. Yeah, and Lindsay, I know you're a big part of this reinvention event. What were you hoping people could learn here from the new way you have the session set up and how they could take it back to their office?
Oh my gosh, well, one of the innovations this year was instead of having a workshop formula for every content and every discipline that we featured, which is you walk into the room, there's the dais, there are 3 chairs, there's the big screen, everybody watch them click through the PowerPoints. We broke that mold too. And we said there are different ways that people learn. There is ideation learning, there's high impact learning. That's why we have in the center of the exhibit floor something called the hub stage. That's our version of the TED Talk, let's just call it the DMA Talk at Then, where you've got these high impact 20-minute sessions. So this innovation of different formats around learning has been fantastic. Daniel, there are two very practical pieces of advice that I would give our attendees with respect to how do I take it home and keep it live. The first is when you get back to your hotel room tonight, take out a piece of paper and write down what are the 10 or 12 best ideas that I learned. Address it to yourself and seal it. That's your commitment, your pledge that these ideas don't just stay here in Boston, they actually go back into your company. So that's number one. Second practical idea, and this is a cue from Mel Robbins, who said, how many business cards are you collecting on the show floor? Don't put the business cards in a drawer when you get home. Put them right out front on your desk. Make a commitment to follow up with each of them. As Tom said, everyone is in this big tent and has something to share. And we can continue the learning on October 7th, 8th, and 9th, and for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and some of those business cards are from people on the expo floor there, right? So a lot of the things we want to accomplish, we can't accomplish without the right technology partner, without the right agency. How should people use the conversations they're having here with those agencies and technology partners and bring them back to their office? How should they move forward with those?
Well, for one thing, you have a personal connection. You know, you can go online, you can Google, you can look things up and learn about companies, but here you have an actual personal connection. And one of the things that I've been doing is emailing things to myself and not just taking business cards, but actually emailing each other, because then I can go back and I have it. You know, I try to be paperless as much as I can, so I'm doing everything over my phone, and then I go back and review it that way, and plus I have a record of it. You know, I can always search it and get back, but I have a face to put with the name. I have a connection, and I see people doing that all the time, and I think that's really powerful. You know, so it's bringing people together face to face in something in a situation like this with our sponsors and our exhibitors and even the startups. It's fun to see the energy, it's fun to see people in their expressions, you know, their eyebrows going up, and it's a conversation. It's hard to do that through email or searching for a company online. So I think it takes that one step further. You can go back and reinforce it now with what you're doing online, but now you have actually a human connection and somebody who you have a contact with.
So you have to meet with the people you might partner with, you might bet your business on.
Right.
So have you seen that too, Lindsay?
Absolutely have seen that, but one thing I would say is that if you don't get to every exhibit booth, if you don't get to all the Hot Zone startup finalists, there's something called the Show Marketing Guide. DMA produced this in partnership with Target Marketing. It's an excellent product. You can go online to the Target Marketing website. You'll see the whole listing of exhibitors by company, also by category. That's a great way to pick up the phone or send an email to an organization that you didn't get that personal time with here and do the follow-up and continue or start the conversation after and then.
Okay, great. Last, let me ask you personally, Tom, as a CEO, as a business leader, what are you going to do when you get back to the office? What are your first few things?
Well, look, I'm not Steve Jobs. I'm not a fan of, I don't believe in build it and they will come. At least I don't have that skill set. So for me, it's all about collecting information from people, collecting information from these businesses, from our memberships, tapping the power of our membership. But really, it's almost like crowdsourcing and figuring out what is it, how can this association better serve the market? So it's identifying what do they want us to build and then build it better than anybody else. You know, we're doing that with our education right now. We've got a board-led committee that didn't exist a year ago. It's got brands like American Express, IBM, Media Math, Macy's, developing curriculum, tapping their membership, tapping their staffs to come in and actually build this content. It's content that they're not only building, but that they're going to use and then offer to clients. You know, so it's that model of tapping what it is that the businesses want out there, and how can we serve that, and do it as an association much better than they can do themselves. And they're not interested in doing it themselves. So, and as I said, very different business sectors coming together and identifying common problems. We take those issues, go back, digest them, figure out how can we better serve the market with their participation. You know, we're a very small staff. We're a hub ourselves, and the real power of DMA comes from the membership. And the tightest concentric circle of that is our board. Go online and take a look at the board of directors at DMA, and we just added 5 great new board members with brands like Facebook, Yahoo, TD Ameritrade, IBM, American Express, Google. You know, it's a broad range of businesses from all parts of the economy, all with marketing, and the foundation for that is data. So but really what I'm going to do is take what I learned from people, go back and read all those emails that I was talking about earlier, sit with the staff, and as soon as we come off of this event, it's really high energy, we're all fired up about it, we've worked on it for a long time, we're right into it and figuring out what do we need to do next, and how can we take what we've learned here and better develop our programs and better develop the event. Massive changes this year at the event. When the board asked me to take over as CEO of this organization, I said, I will do that, but I want to make disruptive changes. So we never had a hub in the floor before with TED-like talks in the middle. We're bringing content down to the floor. We're building the energy. It's much more of an experience. It's not the old grocery store layout of walking through a grid and meeting with vendors and taking their little tchotchkes. It's live content in the center of the floor that supports what's going on around it and connecting the dots. You have people up in our sessions. You know, people that lead those sessions, they are not sales pitches. It's good information, but if the instructor knows of some people down on the floor that can help them, solution providers, I want them to refer them downstairs. You know, hey, you know what? I know the CEO over at Epsilon. Why don't we go down and talk to that guy? You know, that kind of thing. So we're really making those connections and tapping the power of what what the solution providers can provide and identifying the needs of those that can benefit from those solutions and really focusing on connecting those dots. But it's a very different experience this year. Frankly, I'm kind of out on the limb with some of the risks that we're taking. The board is watching closely, the market is watching closely, but from what I'm seeing and from what I'm hearing, people are really enjoying that we're making this much more of an experience and really blowing up the old trade show model and bringing high quality entertainment. We've entertainment information and entertaining speakers. I don't know if you saw Blake Mykoski from Tom's this morning or Johnny Waddy yesterday from IBM. And we've got Kevin Roberts from Saatchi & Saatchi. And then another thing, you know, we bring in a marquee speaker like John Legend, and a lot of people are wondering, you know, why are they bringing in a singer? Well, John Legend is a terrific businessman. He's going to sit and he's going to be on a panel and discuss how he markets to his customers. And then yes, he will play a couple of songs. We have a piano on the stage, and he will play a couple of songs. But it's not just bringing him on because of the entertainment value. He's a really intriguing guy and does a lot of cool stuff. We want to show the marketers how, you know, what he's doing, and so it's bringing all that together and then getting feedback from everybody, you know, and so that's what we're going to take home is the feedback and how well received this is, and then we'll adjust it. We're doing, as I said, a lot of things that are a lot of different. Some of it's going to work great, some of it's not going to work great, but we are data driven ourselves, and we'll take all of the data back that we've learned from everybody on the floor, and we survey those who are here, we survey those who are here in the exhibits and the sponsorships. We take all that information back, and that's our guide to make adjustments for the next show.
And lastly, Lindsay, you want to hear Tom talking about disruptive change. I think of you for sure. So what are you going to take back? A lot of people are in similar communications, PR, branding roles like you. How are you going to put that in action when you get that?
So 3 things. First thing I'm going to do is join my colleagues in saying thank you to all of our members, our exhibitors, and the newcomers who are here and came along with us to take a chance on And Then in its first year of a 3-year transformation. We want to thank them. Second thing I'm going to do is engage those that I met and work with my colleagues to engage those that we met. Our board member Joe Zawadzki said at our opening session that this is a bit of a grand experiment and we want you to help curate DMA and Then as it goes forward. So we're going to reach out and engage in very real, tangible ways.
Absolutely.
And the third thing I'm going to do is invite those who weren't here to come be part of this, because something is happening within DMA and the marketing ecosystem, and it's very positive, and it's beginning here, and we want everyone to feel welcome in this big tent.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Tom, and thank you, Lindsay, and thank you for watching. And if you were able to attend, and then if you weren't, you can go to marketingsherpa.com/DMA to see many of the interviews we conducted here.